Hey everyone, Mark Buffa here from Spectre Pro Shop Software, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to cut an oval thumb. We're going to be doing it here on the drill press. We're going to be using our trusty software that we all love and use in our pro shops, and we're going to see how this can make the oval cutting process that much easier. So one of the reasons why we invented Spectre Pro Shop Software is when I'm giving a ball drilling course, I always found it very difficult to teach the math aspect of how to cut an oval. So we incorporated an oval calculator in the software, and we're going to show you how to use it and also how to do it on the drill press. So before we get started, there are some things that you're going to need to do in the settings of the app itself. So as we see here on the spec sheet at hand, we see that on the thumb we have 3/16 negative, so basically 3/16 reverse and 3/16 to the right. This is the measurement that we took. If you want to know more about how to measure, there's a video for that as well. We see negative 188 and positive 188, okay? So first step, what you're going to need to do is check your drill press, move it to the right and move it reverse and see what's up, okay? Your machine might be positive and negative, the opposite of what we have. If that's the case, go into your settings, into the drill press calibration pane over here, and you'll see, does your machine display right pitch positive? Yes or no? So answer that accordingly to what you have. And same thing with the other one here. Does your machine display forward thumb pitch positive? Yes or no? Okay. So once you know that, change it in your settings and you're golden. Another neat improvement that we made to Spectre Cloud is that you can now display the plus or minus symbols in the pitches. So that's going to be that bottom one there. I like turning it on because it alleviates you from going in the wrong direction on your drill press. Okay, so that is step one. Check your drill press, check your settings in Spectre. The second thing you're going to want to do in Spectre is check your thumb hole preferences. Okay, so down here at the bottom again, we've got another window where we have different thumb hole preferences. What we will be using in today's example are the settings that we see above here in the corner. So we are doing the initial pitch in the center. Okay, we'll explain why a little bit later. The oval width calculation, we use drill bit sizes. And again, there is a video also where we show you how to measure ovals using a BT ball fitter, which has all the hole sizes on the wheel. So that is one way that you can do it. And that's how we do it in this video. And then lastly, to add the thumb pitch into the cut calculation, we put that on as yes to make things a little bit simpler. Okay, so again, if this isn't how you do it, it's fine. The trigonometry and everything is exactly the same. It's just that these are the settings that we use for this video. So without further ado, let's go right ahead. Okay, so we have our ball now on the drill press. We took our measurements, as we can see on the spec sheet over here. So we see that our measurement, like I said, is 3/16 reverse and 3/16 right. Our starting bit is 13/16, so that's the drill bit that you're going to use to do all the work, okay? The oval width is the largest part of the thumb. So again, reference the video where we talk about how to determine the measurement. And basically that's going to be the oval width. So how much are we going to be moving our table to get the 59/64ths? At a certain degree. So right now we measured our client at 40 degrees. So those are the three key principles. Without these three, you cannot hit the calculate button, it won't work. So now that we have this, we've got our general moves here. We see the 5 cuts that we need to do. So now let's go ahead and let's do this on the ball. So I'll take my tablet. We've got a nice setup here where I could just clip it onto the drill press and we're ready to go. First step here, we're at 0, 0, and we want to go 188 negative on the vertical. And this is going to be the middle of our hole. In the settings, I told Spectre that I wanted my pitch in the middle of the hole. Okay, so we're starting in the middle. Okay, so follow your spec sheet, go to 188, 188. And again, you could be in X and Y here. We changed it to vertical and horizontal, but again, you could do whatever on these digital readouts. Next, we're going to take our starting bit. So in this case here, as we've mentioned, it's 13/16. So go on your carousel, grab your trusty 13/16. Always make sure to check on the drill bit. I made that mistake a couple days ago where it's not in the right spot in the carousel. So make sure you check that out. We have a 4 1/16 span. So we found our grip center. We measured 2 1/32 here, which basically gives us our cut line for the thumb. I will now line up my drill bit with that. One of the cool things that you could use is a neat little product from Jayhawk, which is called the J-Mag. I personally don't use it on a daily basis, but as you can see, we just kind of leave it here on the drill press, and it makes it very easy for you to hit your lines. So we'll use it in this example. So here I just make sure that I'm on my center line. I will now turn the drill bit. I can put my J-mag right here on the tip of the drill bit, and because it's a magnet, it will just stick on there. All we want to do is move this until the little magnet goes onto our line, and right there, we're golden. There's no other holes on this bowling ball right now, okay? So, question to you, does it matter if I hit my line? Not really, right? Because I can always cheat and recoup on the fingers. This is why I like teaching thumb first. The hardest part, especially if you want to center a slug, and that's what we're going to be doing in this video, so we want to make sure of that. So now, we have our pitch set, we have our pilot, basically the center of the hole drilled set, we are good to go. What I could do is easily just switch this out and go to my 1 3/8 because I'm going to be putting in a 1 3/8 slug into this. I haven't moved the ball. I'm going to turn on the suction so like that the ball won't move. I know that I am in the center of my hole. So I'm going to now drill this 1 3/8 hole. Okay, I'm gonna cut here, but like I wanted to like show that I'm just continuing. As we see here, I'm eating my line. It's normal because I'm using a bigger size drill bit, right? So again, what's important is that the hole that I'm trying to drill, the 13/16, is already right there in the middle. Okay, so we're going to keep going until about 2.5 inches. Now, in our case, we are using, so what we're using here is an oversized drill bit. These are 5/1000ths bigger than 1 3/8. So I highly suggest these drill bits. If you're due to change your 1 1/4 and your 1 3/8, please reach out to your local distributor and get yourself an oversized drill bit. These make installing slugs a breeze. If you don't, that's totally fine. Just need to make sure that once you drill the hole that the slug goes in nice and easy. 2.5 inches is a good rule of thumb. Okay, in terms of depth, that'll usually work. But again, make sure, right? So take a steel span ruler, slap it on there, and we see that 2.5 inches leaves us ample amount of room to do the rest. This is a Vice Easy Slug, urethane, turbo, ultimate, whatever tickles your fancy. The quality is just as good for all of them. Take your steel span ruler, throw it into your hole, so I still have a little bit of ways to go. Now we remove our 1 3/8, and we could easily just take our slug here and see if it goes into the hole. As I said, we use the oversized drill bits, and as you see, this thing goes in like butter. Very easy. What we want to do now, regardless of which manufacturer of slug you use, we want to rough this up a bit. The idea behind that is just to give the glue or the epoxy or whatever you might use for your thumb slugs something to adhere to. So to rough up the slug, like I had mentioned, we all have these sanding discs, either 80 grit, 100 grit, or 120 grit. This is 100 grit. Just take one out of your accessories here and just rough it up just a little bit. Now obviously if you're not using an oversized drill bit, you might need to do this a little bit more. Some guys like using also a rasp, just to hit it and nick it up a little bit, but just some 100 grit does the job. So now what you want to grab also is just a secondary slug so we can push it down with both. Now, obviously, if this is going in very rough, okay, and you're pulling down on this with all your force, probably not good for the quill here. Tread carefully with that. This is a good practice to use when the slug goes in nice and easy. Another thing you could also use on the slug is some smooth slide powder. Throw that on there and it'll go in a little bit easier. Next thing is you want to use some sort of a slow curing glue. This is the Turbo Slow Zip. Every glue manufacturer's got 2 different types of glue, maybe 3. Use the slower one for all of your interchangeables and your slugs. Okay, it just gives you a little bit more time to go with. So now we're going to go back to the ball here, and I'm just going to smear this around. Okay, a couple drops, turn it around, and we are good to go. I'm going to put one on top of the other and pull down, and we see how easy that was. Really no force necessary. We set up our ovals to be with the center as the starting point. So if I go back to my 13/16 drill bit, I didn't move the table. So if I bring this down, where is it? It's right in the middle of the slug. So in this case, we have a Vice slug, which has the little nipple on it. So as I bring this down, we see that the drill bit fits perfectly in the middle, and that's what we want. So that's why this process is a little bit simpler. So now through the magic of the Spectre Oval Calculator, as I said, we started from the middle, and now because this bowler is right-handed, we're gonna wanna get the top left corner of that thumb hole. So through the trigonometry, it figured out what the top and the bottom most sections are, and it divides it by 30-second chunks is basically what the math does. So if we see here, it's saying that my first cut is going to be -152 and 146. So now all I have to do is move my table to that. So I'm going to go here horizontal, 146, and vertical, negative 152, okay? And now if I go back down with my drill, you'll see that we're now on the top left corner of that little nipple. So we're no longer in the middle. Spectre does the math for you to do it in one direction. So you're not starting in the middle and bouncing up and down. It does it so it's one felt swoop. Again, using our starting bit, which is 13/16. We want to drill all the way through the slug. Once you feel the drill bit bottom out, that's when you kind of got through. So here I felt it go through, so we went through the slug. So if we look at this again, we will see that it is on the top left corner of that slug. So next, we want to move to negative 176, 174. So we're moving clockwise on both axes for a right-handed player, and here negative 176. Now you can use traditional drill bits for this, as we're doing in the example. If you have the budget and the availability for end mills, go for it. It's going to give you a better cut, and it's going to be a lot more precise. These will chatter a little bit and move a little bit, especially if you have a keyless chuck. So here we're now going to go 201, negative 199. And if you're off by just 1,000, it's not the end of the world. And again, going slowly, it's basically chopping off a 32nd of an inch each cut until we get to the desired width. And our last oval cut is going to be 229, negative 223. And there we have it, a perfectly oval thumb. So as we see here on our drill sheet, we see that there's a half cut, which is basically the taper cut, okay? This is going to be something we can cover in a different video. Right now, I just wanted to cover the trigonometry side of things. So now all we have left to do in this case, where we're just doing a straight oval into a slug, is we just need to cut the slug down. So we just need to move our table back to 0, 0, 0, take our plug cutter, and we're good to go. So the beauty of using these settings, where the center is the starting point, also where the pitch is included in the calculation, it does so you never have to touch your digital readouts. Like if you notice, I never touch this, I never reinitialize it. So that's the beauty of this. So I'm going to take my trusty plug cutter, pop this in, and shave her down. Now if you have some sort of a shield, that would be preferable. For video purposes, it's not the greatest, so you'll have to excuse the mess. But also watch the Pro Shop Basics video that we spoke about. We talk about all the tools that you're going to need to have a nice and clean Pro Shop, and we're good to go. So here, we're not touching the ball, everything's good, and we are perfectly flush with the surface of the bowling ball. And again, here, I'll take off the suction here so we can look at it. And we see here a perfectly centered oval in the middle of our slug. Clean up later. We'll get Jacob to clean up for me. And so that's basically it. Make sure to check your drill press calibration. Make sure to check your settings in Spectre. What we used is the certain types of settings. If you want to play around with those, watch that video that we're going to link in the description below. And I hope this helped you out. We get a ton of questions about the oval calculator, and I hope that this really put an end to some of those questions and made you understand how you can do a better job making ovals in your Pro Shop. And as we see, it's a very simple process, not too much of, moving the ball, twisting the ball, everything's there centered. You draw your lines and we just move the table. So very simple. It should be something that within a week, if you practice with this, it should be something that you could throw into your arsenal, okay? I know we didn't talk about how to measure, that's a separate video. So again, check our channel and make sure to watch that how to measure video. And again, thanks for tuning in, and I hope that you guys enjoy using Spectre Pro Shop software in your Pro Shop. It's been a game changer for us here, and I also hope for you in your Pro Shop. Thanks everyone, we'll see you guys in the next one.